You don't like it?
No.
What's wrong?
I wish I was still with you.
I know. Me too. But I'll see you tomorrow, all right? First thing.
Tomorrow.
Curfew.
Let's go. Good luck.
What if Stranger Things has been lying to us about who really powers 11? We are all supposed to believe the same thing. 11 is the battery. 11 is the nuke. She reaches inside herself, finds more strength, and saves the world. Mike is just the boyfriend, the heart, the guy who gives the speech and stands back while she does the real work. But the more you look at when her powers actually spike, and the more you compare that to how D&D treats clerics, the more it feels like we have missed something huge. I do not think Mike Wheeler is just the emotional support character.
It can't be good for her to be in there for this long.
Mike, you need to relax.
What if she gets brain damage or something? You're treating her like some kind of machine when she's not a machine, and I don't want her to die looking for the Flayed when they've obviously vanished off the face of the earth. So can we please just come up with a new plan, because I love her and I can't lose her again.
What's going on?
Nothing.
I think he is Vecna's secret cleric. In D&D, a cleric is not a wizard. They do not study spellbooks or channel their own raw talent. A cleric's power comes from faith. They make a connection to a higher being, a god, or a dark power, and their spells are granted through that devotion. The more they believe, the more they can do. Their real spell slot is trust. Now go back to Stranger Things and track 11's biggest moments. In season 1, she flips the van when the boys trust her completely and refuse to abandon her. In season 2, she closes the gate after reconnecting with Hopper and seeing that she belongs. In season 3 and 4, her most dramatic surges happen when Mike finally says the quiet part out loud and tells her he loves her, that he needs her, that she is the one. Her power does not just respond to anger, it responds to belief, especially his. Watch the piggyback scene in season 4. 11 is pinned in the mindscape, losing the fight to Vecna. Max is seconds from death. Nothing is working. Then Mike, in the pizza shop, breaks down and finally tells her the full truth. That he has been afraid of losing her. That he has always needed her. That he loves her, not because she is strong, but because she is her.
Elle, I don't know if you can hear this, but if you can, I want you to know I'm here, okay? I'm right here. But the truth is, Elle, I don't know how to live without you. I feel like my life started that day we found you in the woods. You were wearing that yellow Benny's Burgers t-shirt, and it was so big it almost swallowed you whole. And I knew right then and there, in that moment, that I loved you. And I've loved you every day since. I love you on your good days. I love you on your bad days. I love you with your powers. I love you without your powers. I love you for exactly who you are. You're my superhero. And I can't lose you. Okay? Do you hear me? I can't lose you.
And only then does her power reconnect. In D&D language, that is a cleric channeling divinity. The worshipper focuses their heart on the source, and the source responds. Mike's words are not just sweet, they are a spell focus. So here is the twist. What if that circuit is not safe? What if that emotional line Mike keeps pouring energy down does not go only to 11, but also to the thing that gave her power in the first place? We know her abilities are not natural. Brenner did not grow them. He unlocked them. He tapped into some other plane, some other force, and used children as antennas. 11 is not a standalone generator. she is a channel. If that is true, then every time Mike begs her to be stronger, every time he pushes her to go further, he might be pumping faith into the entire network that Vecna sits on. In D&D, it is dangerous to be a cleric of something you do not understand. The more you pray, the more power your god gets. Even if you are using that power to fight, it still feeds the one on the other end. Mike thinks his devotion belongs only to 11, but the pipeline goes deeper. His belief in her power, his insistence that she is the one who can fix everything, that everything rests on her shoulders, all of that reinforces the same idea Vecna wants to spread. That power is the only answer. That the psychic cord between their world and the Upside Down must stay plugged in, no matter the cost. So here is the theory. Mike Wheeler has been acting like a cleric for 4 seasons without knowing it. His faith does not just keep 11 going, it keeps the system going. It keeps the idea alive that her connection to the Upside Down is necessary, even sacred. And in Stranger Things 5, that has to break. The level 20 problem is simple. You cannot beat Vecna just by pushing more power through the same cord he uses. As long as that connection exists, as long as there is a human cleric feeding belief into psychic power, he has something to manipulate. So Mike's final arc is not about finding a bigger speech. It is about changing what he believes in. He has to stop worshiping the idea of 11 as the all-powerful weapon and start loving her as a person who might need to let that power go. He has to walk right up to the line that has defined their relationship since season 1 and say out loud that he would rather have a world where they live ordinary lives than a world where she keeps burning herself out to save everyone. In practical terms, that could look like this. At the climax, Vecna tries to hijack the connection. He uses Mike's fear and declarations to push 11 past her limits, hoping she will tear the barrier wide open and give him what he wants. He taunts Mike, tells him he is useless without her, tells him the only thing he can do is beg her to try harder. And Mike refuses. He stops playing Cleric. He stops praying for more power. He tells 11 she does not need to win by becoming a god. She can win by choosing to cut the cord, to let the power that comes from that other place die with Vecna. His final act of love is not telling her she is the strongest. It is giving her permission to stop. That moment breaks the worship pattern the Upside Down has been feeding on. It takes all that emotional energy that has been flowing toward power and turns it toward sacrifice and acceptance instead. That is the kind of shift that can drain a god. So I do not think Mike's role in the story is just the heart of the party. I think he is the secret cleric who has been unintentionally feeding the system they are fighting. And the only way to beat Vecna is for him to finally close the book on that faith and choose a different ending. Whether you think Mike ends the story with 11 powered up or powerless, tell me in the comments what his last big choice should be. And if you are still watching, drop Cleric Mike down below, so I know you are part of the party.
I will never, ever let anything bad happen to you ever again.
I don't want you to forget that I'm here.
I think it's just scary to open up like that.
Once I did that, I felt so free. I just want this to be over.
It's not going to stop. Not until he's taken everything and everything.
What if Stranger Things has been lying to us about who started all of this? We are all supposed to believe the same story. Will Byers is the first victim, the sweet kid who just wanted to play D&D, got taken by the Upside Down, and spent the rest of the series trying to heal from it. He is the boy everyone is trying to save. But the more you look at how D&D actually works, and the more you look at how perfectly the Upside Down mirrors their campaign, the more a different idea starts to creep in. What if Will is not just the victim of the story? What if, on some level, he is the one who created the story? There is a fan theory that says this out loud. Everything in the Upside Down feels like D&D because it is. Will does not want the game to end. He does not want his friends to grow up, to split apart, to drop the party and move on. Something answers that desire and builds a world where the game never stops. Will as the villain. Will as the dungeon master who never closes the book. To understand why that hits so hard, you have to look at what a dungeon master really is in D&D. In the game, players control their characters, but the world itself, the monsters, the traps, the rules of reality, all come from one person, the DM. The dungeon master is not just some narrator. They are the god of that table. If they say the sky turns red, it turns red. If they decide the campaign goes on forever, it goes on forever. There is another piece of D&D lore that fits even closer. In settings like Ravenloft, there are places called domains of dread, little pocket worlds created around a single tragic figure. The domain looks like a normal place, but everything in it is shaped by that one person's fears, obsessions, and regrets. Time can loop, events can repeat. The people trapped there never really escape, because the world exists to feed the story over and over. Now go back to Stranger Things with that in mind. The Upside Down is not a random hell dimension. It is a copy of Hawkins, frozen on the night Will disappeared. November 6th, 1983. The day his normal life ended. The day the game stopped and reality crashed in. Time does not move there. It is stuck. Just like a domain built around one person's moment of trauma. And what fills that frozen Hawkins? Monsters with D&D names. A Demogorgon, a Mind Flayer, Vecna, all pulled straight from the script of the boys' campaign. The world is not based on some ancient mythology nobody has heard of. It is based on what Will and his friends love most. D&D is not just a fun reference, it is the template. So here is the theory. On that night in 1983, Will is terrified, not just of the thing chasing him, but of something more human. His friends are growing up. Mike is starting to care more about girls. Lucas wants to be cool. Dustin is getting more confident. They all still play, but you can feel the shift. Will is the one who is always left holding on to the game. In D&D terms, he is the heart of the party who never rolled a new life. He wants the adventure to keep going exactly the way it was. He does not want the campaign to end. He does not want the story to wrap up and everyone to go their separate ways. So when the Upside Down reaches for him, it does not just take a boy. It takes a dungeon master. Some force on the other side, whatever you want to call it, grabs onto his fear and his imagination at the same time. It takes his memories of Hawkins, his love for D&D, his dread of losing the party, and uses them as building material. It copies his town, locks it on the night he was taken, fills it with monsters that look like the ones from his game, and makes that into a domain. A domain of Will's dread. That is why he is different from every other victim. Other people die in Vecna's mindscape or get torn apart by Demogorgons. Will comes back changed, cold, connected. He does not just have nightmares. He has a live link in his neck that tingles whenever the Mind Flayer moves. He can feel what the entity wants. He can tell where it is. Everyone says that is because he was possessed. But what if it is because deep down, the Upside Down is his creation? He has admin access. He is its original storyteller. Think about his drawings. In Season 2, he draws the tunnels long before anyone else sees them. In Season 3, he is the one who feels the danger returning before anyone else believes him. He is always 5 pages ahead in the script. That is exactly what a DM is. The DM knows where the dungeon goes, where the monster waits, what the map looks like long before the players get there. Will acts like someone who recognizes his own story, even if he does not remember writing it. There is another detail that fits the domain of dread idea. In those D&D worlds, the villain who shapes the domain suffers too. They are both the jailer and the prisoner. Their greatest wish and their greatest fear get locked together. If they want their lost love back, the domain gives them a ghost that never quite reaches them. If they want revenge, the domain gives them endless enemies, but never real peace. Will's wish is simple. He wants his friends to stay together and keep playing. What does the Upside Down give him? endless danger that forces the party to reunite. Every season, no matter how far they drift apart, the threat that started with him drags them back to the table, back to Hawkins, back to each other. The game never ends. The campaign keeps going, but it is always hurting him. He never really gets to be happy. He is stuck as the quiet, lonely observer, watching everyone else move forward while he is still pinned to that first night, still feeling the monster in his neck, still drawing maps for a world that will not let him go. That is not the story of a pure victim. That is the story of a tragic DM who wished too hard for the game to never stop and got exactly what he asked for. Here is the level 20 twist. If Will's fear and desire helped create the Upside Down as a domain of dread, even subconsciously, then beating Vecna is not just about killing a monster. It is about ending the story, ending the campaign, letting the DM close the book. In D&D lore, a domain of dread only really breaks when the Dark Lord lets go, when they stop clinging to their obsession, when they choose to accept the loss instead of looping it forever. If Will is that figure in Stranger Things, then his final arc is not just about being brave. It is about finally accepting that his friends are going to grow up, that the game cannot last forever, that the campaign has to end. Imagine Stranger Things 5 leaning into that. Everyone else is focused on the big moves. 11 powering up, Hopper swinging a sword, Nancy loading another shotgun. But the real battle is quieter. It is Will sitting with the truth that this all started with him. That something used his fear to build a world that trapped everyone. And in the final moments, he is the one who has to make the choice the Upside Down never wants him to make. He has to choose to let the party disband. In practice, that could mean he uses his connection to the Upside Down, not to guide the monster, but to shut the whole thing down from inside. He takes the domain that was built around his dread and rejects it. He chooses to let the story end, even if that means he forgets, or loses his powers, or even dies. Because if you are the DM of a nightmare campaign you never meant to start, the bravest thing you can do is close the book and say, that is enough. So I do not think this theory makes Will a cartoon villain twirling a mustache in the shadows. It makes him something much more tragic and interesting. The hidden dungeon master whose fear of losing the game gave birth to the Upside Down, and the only person who can finally end it by accepting that the best stories do not go on forever. Whether you want Will to be the secret villain or the tragic DM who saves everyone at the end, tell me in the comments what you think his final choice should be. And if you are still watching, drop "end the game" down below so I know you are part of the party.
Would you like to join them?
What if Max Mayfield isn't just Vecna's victim, but the glitch hiding in the one place he's afraid to look? We're all supposed to remember her story as a tragedy. Max gets hunted by Vecna in Season 4, dragged into his red sky nightmare, bones broken, eyes gone, heart stopped. 11 pulls her back at the last second, but the cost is brutal. Max ends up in a coma, blind, her body wired to machines. Sad, heartbreaking roll credits. But Stranger Things 5 quietly blows that version of the story up. Because Max is not dead. She's not even just in a coma. She is awake inside Henry Creel's mind. Season 5 shows us a world Holly calls Camazotz, a fake town, a safe-feeling place made out of books and memories. And we find out it isn't heaven, it isn't the Upside Down, and it isn't a dream. It is Vecna's memory world, a mindscape built from Henry's past. That is where Holly is sent when she's taken, and that is where Max has been this whole time. Max explains it herself. After she died on that cold March day, she woke up in Henry's memory. Not a hospital, not the Upside Down, but inside his head. She walked through his past, through scenes he's replayed 1,000 times, until she found something he couldn't control. A cave. the one place in his own memories that he won't go near. In Season 5, Henry, Vecna, will stalk children, send demogorgons after Holly, play Mr. What's-It to lure kids in, and flex his god complex all over his mindscape. But when it comes to that cave Max has made her home, he stops. He refuses to go in. Max tells Holly that he isn't just avoiding it, he's terrified of it. This is the same cave that connects back to his origin, the one hinted at in the first shadow, the place where little Henry first touched whatever lives behind the Upside Down. It's a memory so tied to his transformation that even he can't stand to step inside. And that is exactly where Max is hiding. So here's the theory. When Vecna attacked Max in Season 4, he wasn't just killing her. He was trying to bind her, to fold her soul into his architecture and hang her in his mind like all the other victims. A human trophy, frozen forever in the moment of her worst pain. He almost succeeds. He breaks her body, severs her senses, pulls her fully into his realm. But then 11 hits him mid-ritual. Max's heart stops. Her body dies for a moment, then is yanked back. The process does not finish cleanly. Vecna doesn't get his perfect trophy. He doesn't get a fully integrated fragment of her soul bowed to him. What he gets instead is a failed vessel. Max's consciousness ends up trapped in his mindscape, but not under his total control. She's inside the system, but not registered as friendly. She's a bug in the code, a piece of data that survived the crash. And because the system is built from Henry's memories, she starts walking through them. She sees his childhood, his house, his trauma, his first contact with the darkness. And eventually, she finds the cave, the memory even he can't stand. The place where Henry first vanished and came back, changed. The origin point, the one memory he never finished rewriting. She steps inside and realizes something wild. This is the only place he will not follow. In D&D terms, this is what a failed Horcrux looks like. Vecna tried to bind a soul into a container and didn't finish the job. The result is unstable. The fragment doesn't behave. It doesn't stay where it's supposed to. It finds its way to the one part of the Lich's history that still hurts. Max is that fragment. She is living in the blind spot of his own mind. That makes her more dangerous to him than any axe, gun, or Molotov in Hawkins. Because if you're trying to kill a Lich, you don't just need weapons. You need information. You need to know where the weak point is. You need the memory he won't touch, the wound he never healed, the cave he won't enter. Max has already found it. Now add Holly.
Henry said never to go into the woods. Never, ever.
Holly's body is trapped in Vecna's lair in the Upside Down, her life draining away, while her mind runs around this Kamazotz with Max. They are on different physical levels, coma bed versus Upside Down spire, but they are sharing the same mental stage. Vecna believes he has Holly on a hook. She's a perfect vessel in the making, but he does not realize that by letting Max linger, by refusing to storm that cave, he's allowed the one girl who escaped him to become the tour guide of his own worst memory for another child. That is how glitches become exploits. Picture how this plays into the endgame. At some point, the party and 11 are going to figure out that Max isn't just lost inside Vecna's head. She's hiding in the one place that rattles him, the cave that ties back to his origin, the memory that might explain why he became what he is and how to unmake him. Max is the only one who can reach that spot and come back out. Holly becomes proof that minds can be pulled in and out of this space. Will, with his connection to the hive mind, can probably sense the ripple every time Vecna flinches from that cave. The final plan writes itself. 11 doesn't just attack Vecna head-on in the open field of his Red Sky realm. She goes in through Max, through the cave, through the memory he is terrified to face. Max leads her to the heart of it because she's been living there, studying every rock, every echo, every flicker of Henry's fear. Instead of battering the front door, they walk straight into the wound. Inside that cave, Vecna is not in control. The rules warp. His god mode breaks. Maybe it is where he first heard the voice behind the Upside Down. Maybe it is where he begged for help and got something else instead. Whatever it is, he has buried it so deep that confronting it could shatter him. And Max is the one person already standing there. So when the final confrontation comes, Max's role is not just the girl who almost died, or the one who got saved by Kate Bush. She becomes the failed vessel who turned the one flaw in Vecna's mind into a weapon. The fragment he couldn't assimilate, hiding in the cave he can't enter, guiding the hero straight to the moment that can undo him. Maybe she does not walk out whole. Maybe burning out that memory burns her too. Maybe she wakes up with missing pieces, or not at all. But if Stranger Things follows through on what Season 5 has already set up, Max's coma was never just a sad epilogue. It was Vecna's biggest mistake. He tried to own her soul, and instead created a glitch in his own mind. A girl hiding in the cave he fears most, waiting for the chance to turn his worst memory against him. Whether you think Max survives that or not, tell me in the comments how you want her final confrontation in the cave to play out. And if you're still watching, drop cave glitch down below, so I know you're part of the party.
Do it.
Oh my god! I got it! Slow down! Jesus Christ! Jesus! Oh my god! You did it!
What if the Upside Down is not a dimension at all, but Vecna's soul jar? We are all supposed to accept that it is just a dark mirror world, a twisted version of Hawkins where monsters live, vines crawl over houses, and ash falls from the sky forever. The mission is simple: close the gates, blow up the tunnels, stop the spread. But if you look at how D&D actually handles Vecna, and you look at how strange the Upside Down really is, that story stops making sense. I do not think the Upside Down is just another world. I think it is Vecna's phylactery. In D&D, Vecna is not scary because he is hard to hit. He is scary because he cannot die the normal way. He is a lich. That means his soul is not in his body. It is stored in a phylactery, a hidden container that holds his true essence. You can burn his body, crush his bones, scatter his ashes. It doesn't matter. If the phylactery is still intact, Vecna comes back. The only real way to beat him is to find the thing his soul is bound to and destroy that. Now think about the Upside Down. Time in that world is frozen on November 6th, 1983. The night Will Byers disappears. Clocks do not move. Calendar pages do not turn. It is like Hawkins got copied and then paused. That is not how a living universe behaves. That is how a recording behaves. A snapshot, a preserved moment. That is exactly what a phylactery does. It traps a soul in a fixed state so it cannot drift or fade. The Upside Down is not evolving. It is rotting. It is stuck, like a corpse that will not decompose because something is still clinging to it. And look at what fills that frozen world. The Mind Flayer's web of particles. The storm that Will draws as a giant spider. The vines in the tunnels under the pumpkin fields. All of it connects back into one nerve system. One brain. One will. Vecna does not just live in this place. He is this place. So here is the theory. When Vecna became whatever he is now, when he bound himself to the power behind the Upside Down, he did not tuck his soul into a little box or an amulet. He poured it into an entire mirror version of Hawkins and sealed it on the day it was most vulnerable. The day he finally got a perfect anchor. The night Will Byers vanished. Will is the first human the Upside Down fully takes without killing. He does not die in a week. He hides. He sings. He resists, but he still changes. The world copies Hawkins at the exact moment he is dragged in, then locks the file. From then on, Will is not just a victim. He is the center. He feels cold when the Mind Flayer is near. His neck tingles when the shadow is close. He knows where it is without seeing it. That is not normal PTSD. That is a live link to whatever intelligence is living inside that frozen Hawkins copy. He is tied to the phylactery. Every time the Mind Flayer pushes into our world, it uses Will as a relay, as a beacon. He says he can feel it. He can sense what it wants. That is exactly what would happen if the soul jar that keeps Vecna alive was anchored to a kid who happened to be there when it solidified. And that leads to a very simple, very scary idea. You cannot kill Vecna by beating him in a fistfight. You have to destroy the Upside Down. Right now, everyone in the show thinks the goal is to close gates and block paths. Hopper swings swords. Nancy loads shotguns. 11 opens and shuts portals like they are doors. But that is all surface level. They are attacking the castle while the soul sits safe in the vault. If the Upside Down is the phylactery, then the final mission cannot just be go there and fight Vecna. It has to be go there and break the world itself. And the only person who can do that is Will. Because Will is not just connected to the Upside Down. He is synced to that first moment. That night in 1983 is tattooed into him. The show keeps pulling him back to it. The fort, the bike, the song he sang to stay alive. Those memories are not just sad flashbacks. They are the original save file. In D&D, destroying a phylactery is not easy. Sometimes you need a special ritual. Sometimes you need a specific person. Sometimes you need to use the Lich's own magic against him. It is never simple. So picture Stranger Things 5 leaning into that. The party finally understands that Vecna keeps coming back because they have never touched his true core. 11 can fight him in the mindscape. The others can blow up his body. But unless someone rewrites or corrupts the Upside Down itself, he will always find a way to reform. So their plan changes. They stop trying to just slam the door. They decide to delete the entire file. Will goes into the Upside Down one last time. Not as bait, not as a hostage, but as the only person who can reach the heart of that frozen world and change it. 11 goes with him to boost his reach, not to be the main weapon, but to amplify what is already inside him. The others defend their bodies in the real Hawkins while this happens. 2 battles at once, one in streets full of vines and monsters, one inside the phylactery where reality is stuck on repeat. And here is the level 20 twist. Will does not beat Vecna by overpowering him. He beats him by pressing play. He lets the frozen night finally move. He takes this perfect preserved version of Hawkins that Vecna has been hiding in and pushes it forward. Time starts again. Lights change. The world that once belonged to Vecna's soul becomes a thing that can age, change, and die. A phylactery cannot do its job if it is no longer a still container. If the Upside Down starts to rot for real, if its rules start to shift, then the soul stored inside it is no longer safe. Vecna loses his anchor. And because Will is bound to that moment, there is a cost. If he is the anchor that ties 1983 Hawkins to this soul jar, then unhooking it might unhook him too. Maybe his body cannot handle the break. Maybe his memories burn out with the world he is destroying. Maybe he survives, but never remembers what happened. Either way, it is not 11 who gets the classic lich-killing moment. It is Will. The quiet kid who has been haunted since the first episode becomes the one who finally snaps the chain. He is not just the boy Vecna chose first. He is the boy who rejects him last. So I do not think Stranger Things ends with the Upside Down just being another dimension that gets closed like a door. I think it ends with the reveal that the Upside Down has always been Vecna's soul jar, that Will has always been the anchor, and that the only way to truly win is to let the kid who was taken on that first night be the one who breaks the whole thing apart. Whether you think Will survives that or not, tell me in the comments what you think his final scene looks like. And if you are still watching, drop Soul Jar down below so I know you are part of the party.